Bowman here from BWOne.com, and we're going to talk about the PlayStation 4 and why I'm not impressed yet. So it was yesterday that Sony finally let the cat out of the bag and talk about the new PlayStation 4, their 4th generation home gaming console. So we got a lot out of the conference, but then again, I don't think we got as much as we should have out of this press conference here. Let's first talk about some of the specs that we know of. We know it's going to come with an AMD x86 8-core processor. It's going to have a next-gen AMD GPU inside of it. 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. It's going to include a Blu-ray player, obviously. It's going to have HDMI out, and it's going to have Bluetooth 2.1. That's what we know really from the hardware specs of the new console. We don't have any idea on storage options, if it's going to support 4K, or really what the console actually looks like. That was one of the most bothering things with me with that press conference, is that we got no idea what the PlayStation 4 actual system looks like, and I think that's just kind of bad right there. It makes it feel very unfinished. You know, so if you're gonna do these press conferences, have finished product, have the product in front of us, or close to finished product. Sometimes I know some things take a little bit of time to finalize, but really close to finished product. Give us a console, a controller, games. Give us the finished product and pricing and all those things like that at that point in time, instead of kind of just I kind of feel kind of smoke and mirrors. But they did give you something here with it, but not really, when you really don't see the actual console. But you did get to see a controller, the new Dualshock 4 controller, which looks very similar to the previous PlayStation controllers. Didn't expect them to change that, but does include the touchpad feature on it, which is very similar to what the PS Vita has, and it also has a headphone jack on the bottom of it as well. Headphone jack, I don't know if at the bottom or at the top, it does include a headphone jack. Also includes this share button to instantly share videos and content, which I'll get a little bit more in about that a little bit later. But all we really know of the PS4 is the controller, and truthfully, Nintendo could get away with just showing a controller, because really the Wii U, the whole big thing about it is that controller. That's what's the real meat of the Wii U, so to speak. With the PS4, all we get is the DualShock 4 controls, an awful lot like the other Sony controllers, with a touchpad like the Vita, which I don't know a lot of people that use that on the Vita or who own Vitas, really, for that matter. So that's there with that. That's really for hardware. That's all we really got. Nothing really else there. But we did get a lot of information sort of about software. We do know they're pretty much redesigning the whole entire UI, which is pretty cool. They're including with sort of some of these share functionalities. When you hit that share button, you're going to be able to sort of share your game footage, and even in some ways do some real-time streaming as well too. So you hit the share button, apparently going to be able to take a video clip of some game action if you've done something really cool within a game, be able to instantly share it out, I guess, to either Facebook or YouTube or such. I really didn't hear directly where it's going to be. It might be a Sony proprietary site. I'm not sure yet, but you're going to be able to do that. And also, you're going to be able to play a game in real time and have people sort of comment as you're playing the game, which I guess that's interesting, but I guess that's the digital way of back in the days when everybody used to go to everybody's house and actually watch them play games, or go into an arcade and actually watch people play games and sort of comments there. But that's kind of cool to see that. There also is going to be downloadable games as well too. You're going to be able to download games, and the cool thing is you're going to be able to download them, and once you get a certain core element of the game, you can start playing the game without having to wait for it to finish downloading, which that is pretty cool. I know with the Xbox you can download games, but once you play any game that has an online aspect to it, you go online with the game, it's going to pause the download so you don't have any sort of bandwidth issues. But this, you're going to be able to do both at the same time, which I guess is cool. And also they're going to be able to, what Sony's going to do is going to be able to predict sort of what games that you want, and based upon the games that you purchase, and sort of pre-download them for you on your system without you knowing. And once you decide to purchase the game, it's bam, it's already there. You don't have to wait for it. That's interesting as well too. I'm not sure if a lot of people kind of like that whole sort of predicting for them. Seems like a little creepy to me, but that's nice and all, but I really want to know what country has all this bandwidth that the PlayStation really is going to be sucking up here to really utilize it fully. The US, we know we don't have really a lot of great bandwidth here. I know China and Korea, in Asia, they have really good internet speeds. We really don't have that, and in some cases we're getting capped bandwidth even on our cable and landline internets. Internet service providers are sort of capping us on that a lot. So it's gonna be very interesting. And some of these games are sometimes very large in size, and anywhere from 10 gigabytes. Some could be 25 or even 50, depending upon what type of game it is. Because we know the PS4 games, assuming they're gonna come with games on physical disc, which I still think they do. They're gonna be Blu-rays, and that holds a whole lot of data on it. So it's gonna be interesting how well that sort of works, and if it's gonna work well, and how that's gonna impact someone's home internet. I don't think that's been fully thought out yet, and it might have, and we're just not getting the details from it. Once again, not getting a whole lot of information out of this press conference, not getting some of the key things that I really wanted to hear from them. But that's sort of on the software side and some of the cool services and features with it. They also have the second screen option as well too, which is similar to sort of Xbox Smart Glass, and also I think we've seen that before with some of the things that the Wii U can do with the 3DS and such like that. And really, this has been, the second screen sort of option with separate devices, but going on really since the GameCube with Game Boy Advance. You were able to plug that in some games. I know Zelda Four Swords Adventure supported that, and I believe the Wind Waker supported that. You could use a Game Boy Advance and plug it into the console, and you get some extra content and features and extra usability with it. So if they weren't using it back then, I just highly don't see this feature being used by developers a whole lot now. I think it works good on maybe the entertainment aspects of things, but as far as gaming is concerned, I think that second screen implementation is probably best used with how the Wii U is doing it, from your main screen to that big controller with that screen on it. I see that being used by a lot more developers than really what you're kind of seeing now with that. But it's nice that they do have it there. Maybe it'll get a little bit better. I just don't predict that it's really gonna get there too high. And also, there is the games. There were some really great games that we saw that looked really good for what we could see, obviously, through an internet stream, but probably in person looked really good. Games such as Killzone, the new Killzone. I forgot the exact name of it, but the new Killzone game looked pretty awesome. I've seen some clips of the Infamous game that's going to be coming out, Infamous Second Son. That looks pretty good as well, too. I know there's this other game, I think it's called Kronk, the sort of CGI game that looks really good as well too. So these games look crisp and look nice, and that's what you'd expect that from Sony. They never lack on the graphical side of things, and it's probably going to be a lot easier to develop these games, because really a lot of the hardware aspects of this console is really coming from the fact that developers had a hard time developing on a cell processor on the past PlayStation 3. A lot of complaints about that, and now being able to develop on a platform that's pretty much PC-like and very similar to what the Wii U has in terms of sort of its GPU and CPU, and similar GPU, CPU, and RAM, is similar to what the Xbox currently has now, and probably what the next Xbox is going to have as well too in terms of CPU, GPU, and RAM. It's going to make it a lot easier for cross-platform developers to basically develop a game and have it work on all the consoles without spending too much time trying to fine-tune things and make it work on one console that's so much different than from the other. So I see that's really an advantage for developers. Should allow for games to come out a lot faster. Hopefully we'll see the graphical improvements as well too. Alright, so one thing I did actually fail to mention in the original recording of this is all about the backwards compatibility, which there is none on the PS4. Zero native backwards compatibility on the actual system. Any of your PS1, PS2, or PS3 games that you want to play on the PlayStation 4, you're going to have to stream through Sony's, I guess, streaming service that they're going to provide, which most likely means they're going to charge you a small fee to play the game that you actually already own physical media for. Very disappointing there with that, although I'm not too upset or not too surprised by this, considering that the core architecture is just different from the PS3 to the PS4, and even on the PS2 and PS1. Xbox had a similar issue going from Xbox 360. The sort of the inner components, the core components that that the games run on were just different, so they had backwards compatibility issues. They kind of solved it doing a similar thing of just allowing you to sort of download the games that they sort of put on Xbox Live from the original Xbox to make it a little bit easier for backwards compatibility issues. But it's just something very hard, time consuming, and probably costs money for a lot of developers to try to fit their game that was on a last gen console work on a next gen console with such different architecture with it. I'm not a programmer, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the main reason why. Now, I'm not too upset about this. I know a lot of people are probably very upset or very worried about this, and also with the whole sort of pushing of fully downloadable games and worrying about the used game market pretty much becoming non-existent and being destroyed because of this. Well, realistically, the used game market is something that is going to be a dying market, and it's not because sort of the developers and the gaming companies want to see it go away because it's costing them money. Truthfully, the physical media that these games are on are dying in favor of the digital distribution, which is really what we're going on these days. It's pretty much what the world is going to. It's going to online content available via download. I mean, when's the last time you've had to print anything? You get a PDF for it. When's the last time you bought a CD? You can download it straight from any type of music store that you want to and just connect to it that way. It's all about really digital content and digital downloading. That's what's really it's going to be killing off used games. Is the physical media just is dying off. That's just the way technology works. When you have new technology and older technology is eventually going to get replaced, and maybe eventually will sort of kind of wither out because of the changing times, and that's just what technology does. Alright, but other than that, share your thoughts below on this whole PlayStation 4. Are you impressed with the PlayStation 4? Are you ready to get it? Are you not impressed with it? Share your thoughts here. I've also gone a lot more in depth with an article available at BWOne.com. The link for that is in the description, so check that out. Also subscribe to our YouTube page here. Connect with us on all our other social networks. You can find that also in the description as well too. And always remember to live your tech world in high definition.